Lineup is brought to you by IT&E, Life in Motion.
In every community, there's a heartbeat, a rhythm, a collective vibration. It resonates through our villages. Our job is to connect with that heartbeat, to respond and engage, to respect our cultural institutions, but also to embrace what's new. It's our job to stay connected, to stay in touch, so no matter how you receive us and what you turn to us for, breaking news, important advisories, interesting stories, to get a good laugh, a good cry, or figure out where to eat, drink, shop, or play, we're in touch with the pulse of the community. You never have any doubt that your KUAM experience will be unmatched by any other media group on Guam or the region.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson Navigation, serving Guam and Micronesia for 20 years. All new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Marathon sessions continue at the legislature as island leaders struggle to prevent finances from flatlining. And DO free, another inmate released from prison when he wasn't supposed to. Also, with what's happening in the States, we give you a closer look tonight at what's happening with Guam's gun control laws. Hafa day, everybody, and good evening. We lead off our news tonight with news that Governor Calvo has ordered a 32-hour work week for the government of Guam, which is expected to take effect a week from today, which would be on March the 6th. This comes as the fate of a bill aimed at averting a government financial crisis remains undecided.
Lawmakers recess session and will resume debate Wednesday on the governor's measure to raise taxes to cover a projected $67 million revenue shortfall. Calvo has warned of furloughs, layoffs, and payless paydays if the legislature does not take action. Nestor Lecanto has our top story.
Another day of debate, another round of proposed amendments, but still no decisions from lawmakers who are deciding what to do with the governor's bill that would essentially raise the business privilege tax by 50% to fund government operations and cover the hospital's budget shortfall. Two key considerations have senators stymied: what spending cuts to approve and what specific taxes, fees, and other revenue enhancements should they implement. The governor's fiscal realignment plan suggests 16 ways to raise money from the public, but lawmakers remain undecided, and Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi asks, why can't the administration do some of this on its own?
What we've been asking from the panel, from the administration, and that we have not received is a very clear identification for some of these revenue enhancement projects. What is the impediment? Why they have not implemented these on their own? And what exactly do they need to be changed in the statutes that might facilitate their implementation?
The administration has also proposed across-the-board pro rata cuts for line agencies, but lawmakers are still undecided on where to slash costs and to who. Senator Frank Uggan Jr.
This is like a carte blanche acceptance of the governor's proposed reduction as it applies to education and public safety. And I believe personally that it will have severe ramifications as it applies to the safety component as well as education.
Also preventing senators from pulling the trigger are concerns that they don't have a good handle on how much cash the government really has, especially special funds held by cash-rich autonomous agencies. So Speaker B.J. Cruz and Senator Talina Nelson want to call back the governor's fiscal team.
They know we want to see it. It hasn't been provided. I don't know what else to do.
I make a motion to bring them in and put them under oath so that we can ask them these forthright questions.
All right. I'm game.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Now, additionally, the governor has ordered a moratorium on renewing qualifying certificates as means to find additional funding.
More cost-saving measures are being implemented at the judiciary of Guam. Chief Justice Catherine Merriman issued an order today outlining these measures. They include closing intake and filing counters at 4 p.m. for both court clerk offices as well as for the Probation Services Division Monday through Friday. Also, all magistrate hearings will be held daily at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The order states this is an effort to reduce the judiciary's financial liability that could come from overtime, night differential, and compensatory time earned. An estimated $100,000 will be saved annually.
Now, added to the list of potential laws to generate some much-needed funding, Senator Joe San Augustine introduced a measure for a general sales tax. That money collected would go to a dedicated funding source for the daily operations and plans of modernizing the Guam Memorial Hospital, funding the island's public school system, and raising general funds for the public sector.
An internal affairs investigation is underway after another inmate is released from prison when he wasn't supposed to be. DepCorps Director Tony Lamarena confirms inmate Franklin Ekfaji was let out on Sunday after being arrested over the weekend. Ekfaji is a repeat offender who has multiple drug cases. The issue, he says, is in part their antiquated computer system. The officer did not get the new commitment order that Ekfaji was sentenced in another case and should have remained in jail.
At times it can get confusing. I'm not making excuses, but we need to get down and find out exactly what's going on. So IA is looking into it.
Ekfaji was picked up on Monday without incident. As we first reported, another detainee was released last week due to what prison leaders say was a miscommunication at the prison. But he was picked up by officers not long after they realized that he had a new commitment for various traffic cases and a small claims.
Well, several people are going to be out of a job for several days, as we have confirmed at least 4 of the 7 officers under investigation for December's murder at the Hagatna Detention Facility have now been suspended.
Nick Delgado has a story.
More corrections officers temporarily removed. The officers working the day detainee Edred Manson Isar was brutally murdered. All responded by the 10-day deadline to their notice to propose adverse action. DepCorps Director Tony Lamarena.
Appropriate action was taken for all 7 individuals based upon the IA investigation and their responses to me. Because it's a personnel action at this point in time, I'm not going to further comment on the individuals' names or the action taken against them.
But GFT Representative Robert Calls confirms with KUAM that the 4 officers who went to his office for advice received suspensions that range from 2 to 5 days. They, along with the 3 others whose disciplinary action is not yet being released, have 20 days to fight it and file an appeal with the Civil Service Commission.
Currently, they're on the job. When the actions take effect, they will be notified. I'm not going to discuss further because, again, I do respect the rights of the employees.
Though he's not releasing details due to what he says is a personnel matter, no doubt it's going to put a further strain on his department.
Of course, it's going, if there is action taken against them that takes them off the job, of course, we're going to have to make the necessary adjustments.
7 detainees have been indicted for their alleged part in the deadly attack on Isar. The prison is now working to ensure all of its officers follow the department's policies and procedures so that they can focus more on the safety and security of the facilities. Meantime, Lamarena says much of the concern over the more than 2-decade-old facility in the island capital, such as plumbing, AC, and locks, are being repaired. Though he says these projects have been in the works for months and did not contribute to the tragedy at the prison.
In regards to work that's being done today, it's a result of months and months of procurement, which happened in the beginning of the fiscal year. The establishment of new accounts and going through the procurement process, getting the POs. And, the timing was just, coincidental that it's happening now. But, the reality is it's getting done.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi, Nick Delgado.
Well, police were tipped off that one man was dealing drugs as 46-year-old Michael Rodriguez Cepeda was arrested Monday. Court documents state officers and the source of information made a controlled call to Cepeda and were able to make a purchase of close to 30 grams of ice. A search warrant was also executed on his home where authorities seized cash, drugs, and digital scales, although Cepeda was not home. During an interview with authorities, he did refuse to talk.
A night on the town turned scary for one female tourist. The alleged incident occurring at a Tumon nightclub Monday night. According to court documents, the victim made repeated hand signals that she did not want anything to do with the man who joined her on the dance floor. The man, who was unknown to her, allegedly came from behind and reached for her vagina. 31-year-old Uki Yamaka was arrested and charged with 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct as a misdemeanor and harassment as a petty misdemeanor.
In other news, one man is behind bars for his social media post as 39-year-old Gabriel Lau faces charges of simple stalking and harassment. Court documents state victims reported him to police last month as apparently his post included indirect threats and sexually demeaning content. The victim told police they feared Lau because they believed he was unstable and a threat to do something dangerous. On Monday, when police went to his home for an interview, they encountered others who reported that he had been harassing them as well.
Automated Victim Information Notification System, or AVINS for short. It's a program the Attorney General is hoping to roll out later this year. As Crystal Paco reports, a request for proposal has been announced in hopes a vendor will step up to provide this much needed service to victims of crime.
If you've ever fallen victim to any crime, you probably understand why the wheels of justice turn slowly. From filing a police report to your defendant's arrest, the hearings to follow, and testifying in court should your case go to trial. It's a burden no one asked for. Even more frustrating is getting up-to-date information on your case.
Everything is communications. Everything is communications. We have to contact victims by telephone. We have to go to their place of employment or residence. Not everybody has a cell phone or a telephone, or we have to be at the court hearing in order to find out information so that we can give it to the victim. So what we're trying to do is to be more efficient and better serve the victims.
That's why the Guam Attorney General's office recently announced a request for a proposal for AVINS, short for Automated Victim Information Notification System. The system would allow victims to call in, text, or email to access information on their perpetrator. The system works both ways and contacts the victim when there are updates on the defendant's release. AG Elizabeth Barrett Anderson.
We should call the victim rather than the victim finding out from the news media that the defendant was released. I think it's very, very important once a detainee, a defendant, an inmate is released from custody, that this type of system give an immediate call to the victim to say, there's been a release and the conditions of release.
The automated system saves the victim from attending a hearing that's been rescheduled or canceled.
For victims to sit there and maybe we weren't able to contact them, but they knew to be there at this date and time, and then to sit there and to find out my case was rescheduled. I didn't know, and I'm here sitting. Do you know how infuriating that is?
It can also free up time for victim advocates to do the work that truly matters. Currently, there are 9 victim advocates overseeing thousands of cases.
And our advocates work hard, but I've been a judge. I know the time in the courtroom. I know how time can better be spent. If we can move that burden to an automated texting or email system, then the victim advocates can do to me, the more important work of counseling with the victims, helping the victims get types of social services, or linking the victims to other agencies where they can gain services.
Guam is one of few jurisdictions without an automated victim notification system. A deadline for the RFP is set for April 20th with implementation by September 30th. The program is 100% federally funded. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.
Stay tuned. We're back with more news after the break.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Leave no room for doubts this Valentine's Day by heading to IT&E. For February only, get your boo the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 for just $59. And for the Apple lovers, get the 10 for just $199 on the 40 gig 4G LTE data plan. Or 2 S8s for just $199 on a share plan. This sweetheart deal is available for a limited time only.
Cars Plus and Mighty has the trucks. And during Ram Truck Month, save up to $97.50 on new Ram trucks. Cars Plus has a great selection of 2018 Ram trucks. Plus, shop our remaining 2017 Ram 1500s. Voted Guam's best truck 2 years in a row. The Ram truck comes with a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. And with 1.99 APR financing for qualified buyers, there's no better time to buy than now. It's Ram Truck Month, and only Cars Plus and Mighty has the trucks. Cars Plus, driven by you.
The Down Syndrome Association of Guam exists to support families of individuals with Down syndrome. We're a group of parents who have children with Down syndrome and know the joys and challenges of raising them. For more information about the health, development, and education of a child or adult with Down syndrome, please contact Vicky Areola at 472-6114.
Connect with KUAM News. Find us on your favorite social media platform. Follow us and stay in the know with Guam's news leader.
Welcome back, everybody. Talks of gun control are dominating discussions in the White House, with the debate taking priority after the deadly school shooting in Florida.
Local gun enthusiasts here on Guam say guns aren't an issue, as Guam has one of the strictest gun control laws in the country. Carmen Terlahi has a story.
Should a teacher carry a gun in a classroom? Helene Cruz, a teacher at Atacao Elementary, responds.
I have mixed reviews on teachers or staff members being armed within the school, because first of all, it's a safety issue. I mean, and then it's a liability, not only for the person who is armed, but it's also for the department.
Gun control is in the national spotlight after the latest round of school shootings turned deadly in Florida. President Trump opened to the idea of arming teachers, raising the age of ownership from 18 to 21, or banning assault rifles. Jay Templo, the owner of Rush Armory in Harmon, a gun enthusiast, disagrees with gun-free zones, saying schools are more vulnerable without guns that can serve to deter a shooter.
I'd rather be like this and deter the person. I'd rather point my firearm at a person to deter them rather than to be like this. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a victim.
And though there's lots of national news about whether or not guns should be controlled, he says it's not the gun that kills the person, but people themselves.
The things happening in the States with people dying, they're considering it mass murders by guns. It's actually a mass murder by a deranged person. It wasn't a gun. I can take a warehouse full of guns like this, leave it in a warehouse. I can leave it there for 10 years and it's not going to cause anybody any harm. But once a lunatic gets into that warehouse, picks up one, goes and commits whatever crime they want to commit, then, it's that person, not the gun.
The question then being, how easy is it to get a gun on Guam? To which he says Guam law is strict.
Guam actually has one of the strictest laws when it comes to acquiring a firearm. You need to go through a background check. You need to go through FBI background check. ATF will be involved as well. It is not an easy process. The law doesn't approve of us owning fully automatic weapon unless you're with the SWAT, GPD, some type of law enforcement or military. So the news about anyone can purchase a fully automatic rifle is very false. It's not true.
Guns bought at his shop are typically used for sporting or hunting, and to carry a concealed weapon, you must attend another training on gun safety. Other laws on Guam include the Castle Law that protects homeowners in the event they must and can justify the use of their gun in their home. Ultimately, he agrees with Guam laws, emphasizing the debate should be recentered on mental health and background checks.
When someone comes in here and I feel they're a little bit shady, you're not going to get a gun. You know what I mean? If you start giving me comments like, yeah, my neighbor makes me mad, this and that, you ain't going to get a gun from here. So we have to be responsible as a gun shop, and I think a gun owner should be very responsible.
Teachers still concerned that at school it would be a liability.
My husband and I, we did talk about it and say that we did want to go and get trained for firearm safety, but that's just on our personal safety. He just wants us to be safe.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Terlahi.
We need the Sonics back.
Thanks, Carmen. News you should know. Current weather conditions have prompted the National Weather Service to issue a fire weather watch for Guam that will remain in effect until Thursday. Dry weather conditions along with strengthening trade winds have increased the difficulty of controlling any fires that might ignite. According to the NWS, east-northeast winds are expected between 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 25, and temperatures are expected in the high upper 80s. This combination could spread fires rapidly and ignite spot fires downwind. These weather conditions also could prompt red flag warnings, and of course, we'll keep you posted.
The cash-strapped government may not be able to tap into the financially robust autonomous agencies for any funding help, with the Calvo administration asking for reports on money in their special funds that could potentially be diverted. The Port Authority GM Joanne Brown explained during Tuesday's board meeting what may be a common theme, that bond obligations will preclude it.
Certainly, we have no problem complying with the request for information from the Director of the Department of Administration. But at the end of the day, particularly at this juncture, for the port to pay out funds to any non-port related activities or investment would raise a significant red flag. And especially because we are already authorized by law to pursue the bond. It's not in our interest for any of these funds to be expended outside of the Port of Guam.
Subsequent field tests by the fire department on the Cabras emissions proved negative for pollutants, and GPA says it had been operating within EPA guidelines.
From finance.
The Guam Power Authority is looking at providing what we call an ambient air quality monitoring station. We're trying to finalize and come to an agreement on the locations, preferably not directly in the port yard, but adjacent to the port yard, where we can ensure that we can properly monitor the air quality.
Wrapping up with a story about the port, subsequent field tests by the fire department on the Cabras emissions proved negative for pollutants, and GPA once again said they did operate within EPA guidelines.
From finances to bus routes, representatives from the Guam Regional Transit Authority are scheduled to appear before lawmakers on Wednesday. Committee Chair on Transportation, Senator Frank Uggan Jr. will be seeking updates and answers on the agency's billing and procurement practices, their proposed routes, and incident reports filed between 2016 to now. The oversight hearing is set for 10 in the morning at the Guam Congress Building.
In other news, more than 24 DOE high school students are attending a seminar on focusing on the 7 habits of highly effective teens, of course, the theory by young Mr. Covey. The federally funded training program provides a step-by-step framework for boosting self-image, building friendships, resisting peer pressure, achieving goals, and improving communication and relationship with parents. The seminar held at the Westin also includes the participation of school administrators, guidance counselors, and health teachers.
Well, one local telecommunications company is doing its part to think green, and so can you. IT&E has launched A Change That Matters. It's their initiative encouraging clients to make the switch to online billing statements. In doing so, they can save $3 every month on billing fees. IT&E CEO Jim King says going paperless means less trash in our local landfill and less pollutants going into the earth, air, and water. Customers will be able to access their latest statements and make a payment online. You are encouraged to visit any IT&E store and make the switch. Meanwhile, a portion of the fees collected will benefit local nonprofit sustainability and/or recycling programs.
Here now, regional headlines.
Half a day, Guam. Here's what's making news in the CNMI. An airline carrying 7,000 passengers last month pays $7,000 for the monthly customs and quarantine charges. That was in January. Now, as March 1st reaches, an airline carrying 7,000 passengers after will pay $49,000. From $1 to $7, this is the new standard rate per arriving passengers for all airlines. This change came from the Division of Customs Service amending its regulation at the end of November. And near the end of December, this memorandum was sent to all airlines, informing them on the change. According to the Director of Division of Customs Service, Jose Mafnes, this fee increase is necessary to operate.
The dollar charges, that was since early 90s, and we have held back for 30 years from increasing the rate, the CQ charges. Well, right now it's, affecting our budget.
According to the Director of Division of Customs Service, Jose Mafnes, this fee increase is necessary to operate.
The old rate can't pay the overtime for the officers.
The Customs Management team determined this rate based on the minimum wage. Mafnes says this fee is not too high, but enough to cover the cost. During the process of amending this regulation, proposing the fee, and following its adoption, there's been little comments made from airlines or the public.
Last week I attended the AOC to remind them, the airlines, about, the March 1st, and that's when I think there's only one airline that is, concerned with the proposed changes.
Mafnes says it should have been implemented on January 1st, but he postponed the fee hike in order to give the airlines a transition period. Mafnes says he is surprised that questions are just now coming out.
The community are given, the opportunity to comment on it. We waited for this when it was published for public comments. Nobody submitted.
The charges will apply for after normal working hours, before 7:30 a.m. and after 4:30 p.m.
If we don't do anything, there won't be enough officers up on the line.
When KSPN asks why there has not been a gradual increase over the years, Mafnes says it's long overdue, and they were too considerate in the past with only charging $1. Mafnes informs us that the original proposed amount was $10.
Rihanna, as much as possible, we try to, not to impose any other additional, fees. If we can work with this amount, then we'll work with this amount. We're not, and again, $7 comparing to all other customs charges, we are the lowest. So it's minimum. We don't want to go high, and we don't want to go low too, where we can't afford to put more officers on the line.
Watch these top stories and more at SaipanTV.com. For KSPN2, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Stay tuned, everybody. We are back in a flash.
Binging movies in bed shouldn't make you want to hide under the covers when the bill arrives. That's why all of GTA's home internet plans are unlimited. We believe that you deserve better than home internet with hidden data fees, because you should be able to cuddle without worrying about bill trouble. So the choice is yours. Bill shock with the other guys, or a life unlimited with GTA. Say goodbye to hidden data fees and make the switch today to GTA. Your island, your network.
Here in KUAM, I see a lot of people do things with their families, with their friends, and I think Blue Moon also has that really nice social appeal to it. It's not a beer that you savor by yourself in your basement. It's one that you take out and you share, and you have it with food, you have it with family and friends. And to me, I think that's perfect for KUAM because, again, you see those two natural pairings just come together. Yeah, to me, it makes perfect sense to put them right together.
Have a day, my name is Gabriel Lau, Council Member of the Guam Developmental Disability Council. March 2018 is Developmental Disability Awareness Month, and this year's theme is Embracing Diverse Communities Together. Please help us celebrate and spread awareness by promoting equal opportunity for people with developmental disabilities to be independent, productive, integrated, and included in all areas of community life. For more information, please call 735-912708.
I solemnly swear
to love you,
hold you,
and keep you as my little secret.
And hold you.
I think about you all the time.
Hold you.
Because you have that special something.
Rediscover your love for the Big Mac and its special sauce. And for a limited time, try the Mac Jr. and Grand Big Mac.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
Abade, Mariana, Squalcy, Chris, KUAM Sports, proudly brought to you by Triple J on a Tuesday. We'll kick it off. Let's go to the Battle Showcase. Battle Showcase Guam, another one. Success with some of the island's freshest cars and bikes all cleaned up and on display at the Guam International Raceway drag strip. The annual event, a lifestyle festival that highlights competition in auto customization, urban arts, racing, and motorsports. Guest judge Itsuki Terada, producer of Japan's Cross 5 Super Show, was in attendance. Spectators saw a graffiti battle, drifting and dragging, and there was also a b-boy battle and old-school hydraulic exhibition. Shout out to all the vendors, Lynn's Barbecue Sticks, Marisol's Holiday Lemonade for keeping everyone hydrated and not hungry. 7 students between the ages of 9 and 12 years old received their certification upon completing the Junior Amphibious Training Program. Guahan Dampu, Fakai Industries, the Guam Watermen's Club, and SPPC sponsored the inaugural program aimed towards enhancing water safety and physical fitness skills with an introduction to CPR, basic first aid, water rescue, knot tying, and knot application. The 6-day training course lasted over 3 weeks, developed confidence in participants through training, according to instructor Andy Lee. Second annual Freely Associated States Friendship Invitational Games volleyball action of the